just check that everyone can hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Kate at the back there. Yeah, exactly. Good morning and welcome. It's so nice to be able to see people for a change and see people face to face. So I think it's probably over 2 years since we last held a sort of face-to-face conference or face-to-face family event like this. And there's still quite a number of families that are not able to join us today. They've got either caring for children with practically still not able to sort of attend gatherings. So we are doing this virtually as well. Shaun's our key person for that. So there's something that people can join in. I think we're going to be uploading quite a lot of what we're recording today as well. So if you don't manage to stay for everything, then there'll be things you'll be able to look at on our website later on. So it's really great to be able to see so many people. The importance of these events, I think, is that actually people can come together and we can hear people's experience, we can listen to other people's experience of Christ. We've all got something in common, but we've also got quite different experiences. And one of the things that these events are about families. So it's great we've got families who are going to be talking about their stories, telling their stories, because that's, I think, the thing that everybody finds most supportive and most important about being part of SOFT. I was talking to a mum last night actually who's expecting a little boy with pat-outs, and the first thing she said was, I just want to be able to talk to somebody who really understands and knows what this is like. So that's the thing that really sort of joins us. And SOFT tries to support people wherever they might be, whatever their experience of Christ's need might be. And some people obviously are expecting a baby, so that's their first point of contact with us. Some people caring for a child, some people in this room who've lost children, and others who've made that awful decision to end their pregnancy. So we try and support people at whatever stage they are. And sometimes that can be quite difficult on these sorts of events. There will be some things that people talk about that maybe are quite difficult for you to hear. So we would encourage people, this is a very informal day. If there's anything that you feel actually you need a break or you just want to dip out and have a coffee, there's coffees and pastries and things outside. There's a remembrance room that's set up just down the hall. If you want to just take a bit of time out or go in there to be quiet for a little while, then please feel free to do that. These days are as flexible and as informal as you want them to be. And we want people to sort of go away from today feeling that actually they've been able to take what's useful for them, what's helpful for them, and to network and just make new friends and reacquaintances and so on, which is obviously what we've all been doing over coffee. Now I think, yes, I've got a slide up here which I need to tell you about in terms of housekeeping. So you probably read it all now, but if there's a fire alarm, and I don't think there's any planned today, so if there is an alarm, just follow the way that you came in to get outside. Photographs, you'll see that people are going around with cameras and taking photographs. You should have been asked that when you registered, when you first came in, whether you're happy with that. But if anybody feels actually they don't want to be photographed, then just let us know. We'll make sure that you're not included. We will be using some of the photography for things like our newsletter. So look out, you might see your pictures in that. Maybe on our website, and as I say, Shaun's going to be uploading some of the things that we're doing today for people to see online. Please keep a safe distance, although it feels like some people have forgotten all about COVID is still here. So if you want to practice social distancing, there are masks around, it's hand sanitizer on the table, so do feel free to use that and to tell people to keep their distance if you need to. We've got a lot of volunteers. Now I have to admit that Liz and I didn't get the email that said wear your soft t-shirts. But everybody else did. So there's a lot of people in the room who are wearing soft. Please come and talk to us. Use us, ask any questions. If there's anything that you want to suggest that we're not doing within soft, or you've got ideas, then please tell us. It's always great to hear your views and hear things that are important for you. We've got networking sessions this afternoon, which I think we'll probably tell people a bit more about at lunchtime, Shaun. I don't know, I can't retain things that long these days, so we'll do a bit more about that later on this afternoon. I've mentioned the remembrance room, and at the end of the day there'll be a remembrance event as well, so if people want to be involved in that, then please feel free. And yes, if you're on social media in any shape or form, Those are the hashtags and links, so please do tweet or whatever else you might do. That is a really good way of raising awareness of trisomy and awareness of soft, so we appreciate you doing that sort of thing. I think the only other things I was just going to say is just to do a couple of introductions, because it's been really quite interesting this morning, meeting people face to face for the first time, and how tall they might be, or how short they might be, and not in a sort of square. But so I'll just sort of introduce the trustees, just so you can put the names to the faces that you've seen, and some of our volunteers. So I'm going to make people stand up now. So I'm not the only one going to stand up here, I'm going to tell you. So Liz, the other one who didn't get the email, just stand up and wave, Liz. So Liz is a long-standing trustee and our treasurer, so she manages all the money. Thank you. Marlene is also a trustee. Actually, Marlene has the unique experience of being a trustee, having been a volunteer, and having worked for SOFT. So she knows it inside out. And Marlene and Liz are our Scottish contingent that have come down today. So. Becky is one of our newest trustees and is also one of the support volunteers. Shaun will go over to Shaun. I think probably most people might know Shaun, maybe not in person, but he's certainly been on all the sort of YouTube videos and things that have been floating around. So Shaun is our operations manager, and then I can see Danny over there. Come on, Danny, you've got to stand up. And Danny remembered a t-shirt as well. So Danny is also one of our trustees. And Danny is sat next to Jenny and Peter, and Jenny is one of the founders of SOFT, so again she knows all the history of SOFT. And then who I missed out? So Kate at the back, so Kate is also one of our team, and Sonia is the other member of our team. So probably names that you might know, but really nice to put faces to names. I don't think I missed anyone. I missed Tina, who's hiding in the corner, who's one of our volunteers, and has helped everybody put today together. There is one person that, before I hand back to Shaun, I just wanted to mention, who's not here today, but some of you will know. So Chris Rose, with Jenny, founded SOFT a long time ago now. And Chris has had periods of ill health, and she's not able to be here today, and she's now stepped down as a trustee. But I just wanted to mention Chris, because I think this is probably one of, it may be the only family event. I don't know, Jenny, whether she ever missed any in the old days. But
I don't think she's ever missed any.
No, so I think this is probably the only one that she's not been able to attend. And although she's not here, I think we all who know her and have worked with her would like to sort of say how fantastic she's been over the time and how much she's put into SOFT. And I'm going to see her in a little while, so any messages that you've got, I'll be happy to take those back. So I don't think I've forgotten anything. Crash, hopefully you're all ready to found. It's going to be running all day, so if the children want to go in there, do remember to pick them up for lunch, otherwise they won't get fed. But it will be there this afternoon as well. And you'll see on the table some evaluation forms. So if you just fill those in during the course of the day, any thoughts you've got, any comments you want to make, we do use them. I know sometimes you sort of think, look at these things at the end of the event. We do, and we do try and act on the ideas and the comments and thoughts that you have. So it'd be really great if you could fill those in at some point. I think that's it. So should we get started? So if I hand over to Shaun, and Shaun, I think you're going to talk to us about, or give us a bit of an update as to where SOFT has been over the last couple of years and where we're about to go to.
Find out. Yeah. Oh, I get a posh little clicker as well. So I've got 15 minutes to remember my slides, which might be pretty difficult. I did them more than a day ago. So if I go over 15 minutes, Sonia will hunt me down. So I will avoid that. So SOFT. We all know SOFT, we're all here for a reason. We all have our personal experiences or associations with SOFT. But over the past 18 months, it's been challenging, shall we say. I think we've all heard of a little thing called COVID, which got in the way. And it forced SOFT to adapt in new ways and creative ways, and what we like to think are quite innovative ways. Innovative? We'll skip over that word. So first of all, who's this? I would like to say balding man that's talking to you, but I think I should have sailed. So I'm Shaun, the operations manager. I came on board with Soft about 18 months ago now. My personal experience brought me here. We have a daughter called Amelia. She's now just 2 years old. And we were told originally during our pregnancy that she had full trisomy and that she would make it. Fortunately for us, we're one of the lucky families, and she has, well, we believe, partial mosaicism. I'm not entirely sure the full extent of it, but that's her just there with me there. And anybody who's joined any Zoom call with me will have probably noticed that there's normally something in the background that's just a little bit geeky. And there's sometimes, Dan's always a bit concerned by my background. There's random things that pop up, and it's always changing. So that is me in a nutshell. And I've had the honour of being part of Soft now for the last 18 months and meeting so many incredible people through Zoom, through different support emails, through this incredible team as well. So thank you for giving me the honour for coming along for that journey. And we couldn't do it without the wonderful people. So everybody, Jan's made you stand up already, but trustees, volunteers, stand up again. Those want to, is it on your feet? Come on. You as well, Danny. So, these wonderful people, they're all part of this team that helped make today possible and everything over the past 18 months. And I just want to say thank you so much for the support and for everybody else in the room joining as well. So thank you everybody here for Soft. So, we've not been able to see each other face to face, which has proved quite interesting. There's been a lot of change, and there's been a lot of things that we've had to introduce. Now, luckily I've got a bit of a tech skill set, so that's helped us, but we've all had to adapt massively. And with something that's so personal and something that's so emotive, it's hard to translate that to the digital world. And over the past 18 months, there have been so many new things that we've introduced, or at least attempted to introduce. The new phone line go live, so we've always done emails. Suddenly our Facebook groups have grown from 1, I think there's like 7, if I'm not wrong. So there are a number of Facebook groups, virtual family group meetings as well on Zoom, so many new faces that we've got to meet, and so many new groups that we've got to meet as well. We've introduced a whole range of podcasts, and I believe we're on to series 5 of our podcasts already, so they have been growing, and it just introduced a new way for people to get to know each other and hear those stories. We had our first virtual family event last year as well. It was the first time. That was well and truly trialled by fire, especially Kate, who joined that same month and was given a brief that we need to run this in 2 weeks' time, so good luck. And we've also had to digitise all of our fundraising assets. Now, why have we introduced some of these things? Because you'll probably be seeing them on social media pop up every so often and wonder, how does that fit me? Or how does that fit an expectant family that's coming through to Soft UK? Things like podcasts, they've enabled us to reach new families who maybe don't want to write down their stories. It's one of the things we find. We speak to families and say, could you write the story down? And the first thing we always get back is, I'm not that good at writing, or I don't really know what to say. So Kate and Sonia, to start with, originally did a lot of talking with people, and the podcast has given us such a great personal way to just have a conversation with people, to talk about their experience and what it means to them, what Soft means to them, and just everything that they've been through. And that is a new library, and it gives people a new way to consume things. So instead of just having to read a story, they can listen to a podcast whilst they're on the go, because we know how just so much information is out there, how overwhelming it can be. So giving people the option to consume those stories and that information in a way that suits them has been a lifesaver for so many people. It's one of the reasons why we've been doing these. The feedback we've had has been really powerful, and not just from the audience who've been listening to the podcasts, but from people actually giving the podcast as well. We talk about how therapeutic it's been to share their story. And so many times, it's the first time they've shared their story with somebody, and then it gets broadcast to the world. And it is such a big relief for them to share that story and to immortalise those memories that they're going through at the time. We also had the honour of working with Public Health England last year as well, and it was pretty much through the entire year to come together to work on an NHS video that would be shown to expectant parents after receiving any form of diagnosis or testing. Now, this was a long back and forth process, as you can imagine. We work with the NHS, so it wasn't going to be quick. But we had the honour of speaking to so many different families and their experiences that they shared with us. And in the end, we came up with an absolutely beautiful video, and I'm not sure if you had the chance to see this, but if not, I'd recommend heading over to the NHS YouTube page. It is a fantastic video, and it is incredibly emotive. It's not like a normal traditional NHS video that you would see that talks about just stats and figures and diagnosis. It walks you through the experience of 3 separate families and how that looks for them. So that way, when somebody's receiving a diagnosis, they get a really powerful video that will show you all sorts of different outcomes and the experience with a little bit of facts in there as well. The other great thing about this process was it gave us an opportunity and a foot in the door with the NHS to actually share the experience of families receiving a diagnosis. And the eyes that it opened within that panel and within the team conducting the interviews, getting that feedback was incredible. And they recognised that there really was an opportunity there for them to do some very powerful work to move things forward, to make that experience better. So we gave us that first foot in the door, which was fantastic. So again, thank you so much, anybody out there who's watching, everyone in this room who took part in those interviews. It really helped to move this process forward for us. And then there's social media, we can't forget that. Now, Kate and Sonia have been taking over the lion's share of this, but we've gone from one group to, in fact, we're missing one on there as well, because a new one has recently been introduced as well. But we recognise again that it's not necessarily a great place for everybody to share just in the main group. And we wanted to give people an opportunity to share their memories and their stories in their own personal safe space with other people who could more closely relate to them. So we opened up numerous different Facebook groups, and all of those have been skyrocketing in terms of growth. People coming through to them to share their experience and share their stories. It's enabled us to really utilise social media for something good and for something that's powerful, rather than what we normally associate social media with, which can sometimes be not so good. And again, it's been wonderful getting to meet people in these groups and to get to hear those stories and to see those shares. And anybody who is part of these groups who has shared their story, their photos, their tips and their advice, thank you. Not just from me, but for any expectant parents or anybody who's going through potentially a difficult time who needs that information. I don't think you'll quite understand how important the stuff that's shared in those groups truly is. It really does make a difference. And the feedback we get from families when we're talking to them through their journeys and through their experience is that these groups and what is shared in there has been a lifesaver. It's been a lifeboat for them in terms of finding that information. So thank you so much. And then we had our online event. I'm really sorry for the screenshots that I got there. So yeah, 3 of you are in the room as well, so I'm going to do a run at it after this event. So last year was up and down when it came to the event. We were going to be doing a face-to-face event, and then we were going to be doing a hybrid event. And then we were going to be doing an online event through a different platform, and then it changed very last minute. It was all over the place. But I'm really, really proud to say that the team pulled through and we delivered one of our most successful events. We had over 100 people, on average, coming to our events to view everything that was getting shared. And the great thing is, all of that stuff is still online and it is still getting hits today. People come through to look at those sessions, to learn more from the guest speakers, to learn more from those families that came through to share as well. It was hugely successful. I had a full head of hair before I started, but that's now past. But it was an absolutely successful event, and we were really, really thankful for everybody who came along, who got involved in the comments and chatted along with us as well. Because it really helped us to feel as though, you know what, there was an actual audience there rather than just some kind of numbers on the view screen. And thank you as well for all the guest speakers who now got screenshots who probably never get to speak for us ever again. And then there's Zoom. And I know a lot of people in this room have come through to us through Zoom, and they've had different meetings with us. And we started off really with just expecting families calls. And occasionally we threw out a bit of a wild card and had something different. But towards the beginning of this year, end of last year, we've introduced new types of Zoom calls as well. And it's been great, again, getting to meet different people from different experiences and just opening that up. And we're just trying to connect with as many people in the soft community as absolutely possible. So again, like Jan said at the beginning, if there's anything we're not doing, please let us know. If there's a group there that you feel should be represented on Zoom and we should be having a group call for them and you'd like to see that, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to do that. We get such great uptake, and again, one of the great bits of feedback we get is that people will normally come through to us for the first time, and then a few months later they're still coming through to those Zoom calls to chat and to get to know each other, and they make long-lasting friendships. And the feedback we always get is, when I first came through to this call, I had no idea. I didn't want to be part of it, and I probably wasn't going to join it. I was going to sit and just listen. But actually, over time, it was for me, and I'm here, 3 months later. And anybody who ever wants to come through to these calls, there's no pressure. You can come through, you can be on mute with your camera off and just listen to what everybody else has got to say. But by the end of it, you'll probably want to join in. They're really powerful. So when we put those out there, by all means, you're all welcome. And then there's fundraising. So we don't really do face-to-face fundraising, so that got a little bit difficult. So we had to digitise our fundraising app, and we had to change all of our different assets and everything else. So in your bags, you will notice there is a new type of fundraising bit in there, but it's also part of our new support strategy that we're going to be rolling out. So we're aiming, I should really leave this to the end, because it's going to be part of what's coming next, but we want to support employers and businesses as well, because part of that feedback that we hear is people come to us and say they're not too sure how to tell their employer about what they're going through or how their employer is going to handle that, and we want to help those employers and businesses through that journey. So we are going to be doing some support resource there as well. Now ideally this is a place that you can go to your staff rooms or anything like that, so that if the employer ever faces something difficult, we can be there to support them. Now, we might not be able to walk them through every single bit of the detail, but we're going to have support packs and bits in place where we can help them through that in terms of language, but also just that they can come through to us to understand the condition a little bit more, rather than having to go to that person who's potentially directly involved at the time. And there's a fundraising there as well, so if you want to set up a team fundraiser, scan the QR code, you can set up a team fundraiser, that can just support software as well. So just new ways of support and trying to digitise the way that we do fundraising. We've also got some new fundraising volunteers coming on board as well. I think this month, yeah, Kate's nodding, that's good. So we've got some new support volunteers coming through as well. So watch this space as things change for us. So what's next? I just ruined it. So we've got all sorts in the pipeline. We've got new forms of support. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will have most likely seen social media posts regarding our new role that will hopefully go live. We have? Good. That's going to get you an nod from Jan. So we are going to be, hopefully very shortly, bringing on a new role as part of Soft UK, a trisomy advocate. So somebody to support families who have a trisomy child, a living trisomy child, about dilemmas that maybe they face in terms of what process they need to face, how they get different types of funding in a local area, who do they speak to get different parts of healthcare unlocked. And this isn't only going to benefit those who have a surviving trisomy child, but expectant families as well. We know it's a minefield when somebody gets that diagnosis initially. There's so many routes they have to look at and bits of information they've got to find. We can package all of that up. Not nicely, I don't think we'll ever be able to package it up nicely, but a little bit more nicely. Then that will help them through that storm. If we can say, actually, if you go down this route, and this is where you end up, this is who you speak to, and this is how we can support you, and this is what we can do next, then that's a really powerful thing for us. Just giving some kind of control back to something that's so incredibly uncontrollable. So there is so much coming up. We have a series of webinars as well that Sonia has put together. She leaves the room, but I've lost her. So yes, no. So yes, we have a series of webinars as well. We'll be speaking to different professional healthcare professionals even. We'll be speaking to different families as well to put together training material, not just for families, but also for healthcare professionals, as we really start to push forward. Obviously, families will always be at the heart of what Soft do, but we also really want to make that change in the professional landscape as well. And we are on that journey at the moment, and over the next 12 to 18 months, we're definitely going to see a lot more of that. So that's it from me. Did I do my 15 minutes?
Just over.
Brilliant. So thank you very much, and thank you so much for everyone coming through today. We have Simone up next, so we'll be getting you all microphones up in just a moment, and then we'll be having a break afterwards as well. So enjoy the day. This is all for you guys to be able to talk, to get to know different people, to take part in different events, and once again on behalf of Soft, thank you so much for coming today. It means the absolute world to us.